Good morning, and thanks for tuning in to Carolina's Mortgage Radio. We are the number one radio show for mortgage and real estate. I'm your host, Brandon Colberg. Give us a call anytime during or after the show, 704-999-6646. School's over. School's closed. The parent teaching has ended. People are beginning to enjoy the summer, get out a little bit more as we ease restrictions from coronavirus, and certainly we see the effects of that going into the real estate market. Rates remain low due to some of the outcomes of coronavirus with the stimulus package and the Fed making moves to keep rates low. So if you have not looked into potential refinance or some other ways of savings, whether you're looking at your homeowner's insurance, car insurance. You may have even gotten a check in the mail from your auto insurance provider. If you haven't, be sure to reach out. But lots of ways to save money and continue some fantastic savings that have come through the stimulus package due to coronavirus. So give us a call anytime, 704-999-6646. Certainly the market remains hot. We're going into the summer months, and I want to discuss that with Rebecca Cullen from Cullen and Company at Keller Williams. Rebecca, good morning. So great to see you.
Good morning, Brandon. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So you've been on the show before. We're so happy to have you back. We've talked about real estate investing before, which I'd love to kind of just touch on, but want to talk about the current climate, what we see kind of coming down for the summer months. But kind of give us a reintroduction to Rebecca Cullen.
Yeah, thank you. So I have been a real estate agent since 2015, and I have always been with Keller Williams. Prior to that, my husband and I were investors, and that was kind of why it made a good transition into getting into the real estate market. And so we started investing in 2009 and have bought and sold multiple properties. We actually have a closing in 2 weeks. So
Excellent.
we are selling one of our investment properties.
Fantastic. So was it a short-term investment property? Was it fix and flip or?
Yeah, so this particular one was a vacation rental VRBO property that we bought in 2017. Great opportunity for us price-wise, and it's the height of the market, and we as real estate agents get to determine when we pick up that phone and call our favorite sellers and say, hey, we don't have a crystal ball. We're unsure of what the next 6 to 12 months are going to look like. And right now I can tell you, you have $120,000 of equity in your home, so sell it. And so I made that call to myself, and
Right.
we decided to sell it. And it sold within 3 months, which, at the beach, this particular home is at Holden Beach. It's normally a 365-day market,
Wow.
and we got exactly what we wanted.
So obviously, that's a big key with being an investor in real estate, but it's also making a good financial decision. How do you counsel your sellers? And I don't know if we're already getting off topic, but we'll go with it. How do you kind of counsel your sellers when it could be a really good time to sell? People get emotional with real estate, emotionally invested.
Right.
I think investors tend to leave, the emotional aspect at the door because it really becomes about money, building wealth, creating wealth. How do you kind of transition that mindset, per se, to just regular home sellers?
Yeah, so you're right. Investors definitely have more of a savvy business building wealth mindset. We like to, when we're having those consultations with our buyers and sellers, one of our first questions is, what are your long-term plans with this purchase? And we put into our client relationship manager whether or not they say during that consultation, this is a 3-year process, this is a 5-year plan, this is a 10-year plan. And especially when we get into our investors specifically, we ask them if they want to net a certain amount of money per month, or if their intention is to have the long game, which is, a 10-year, 20-year, maybe they're okay taking a loss in the beginning of the purchase. Maybe they're going to have like a $25 loss every single month, but they know if they buy in the right location, it'll appreciate faster. So it's counseling them around what their goals are at the beginning and putting that into our client relationship manager and then following up on it every year.
So you start out as a real estate investor before you actually getting into helping other people buy and sell real estate. Gives you a very unique perspective on the market, on building wealth through real estate, making those types of decisions. Obviously, we talk a lot about on the show about being a real expert, being a true professional in this business. There's lots of people, as with any industry, there's always the 80-20 rule, right? 20% of the individuals make up 80% of the sales. And that is because 20% are the true experts, right?
Yes.
Talk about, what you said was really important just there as far as being the difference between being just an agent and being an actual advisor.
Great. Yes. So when we're meeting with people, most of the time we're meeting people through relationship first. 84% of our business comes from repeat clients, relationships that we've already had. We don't pay for those relationships. We basically like to have, organic conversations. And so those people already know us and trust us because I actually hire my whole team is investor-minded folks. And so we are the experts when it comes to this, and they have multiple properties. And, it's one of those things where they already come to us trusted. And we say at the very beginning, our goal is to make sure that you are 100% educated through this process. If you decide at any time in the future, in the next 5-10 years, to do this on your own without a real estate advisor, we want you to feel empowered to do so. And so we take them all the way through the process, whether or not they're a savvy buyer or seller. They get the same education process around here's what it would look like if you did X. And so that's really one of our value propositions.
And that's certainly a ton of value and a different perspective on it for sure. Whereas a lot of people are thinking, this particular agent is going to help me buy or sell this home, and I'm never going to see him again. You're actually building a lifetime strategy for that particular client, for that particular property, and beyond in your initial conversations and consultations, and then databasing that to help them in the future. That's a
right.
really, really unique proposition.
Yes, we have a lot of clients that we've served over the last 2 years specifically, where they will call and say, hey, you told me when we bought this home, call me when I have questions about the equity or what the neighborhood's doing. I'm calling you now because I'm starting to see more houses selling. And they will we'll have like a 30-minute conversation about what the market's up to, and that is my jam. Like, that is what I want them to do. And we say that in the process of either buying and selling, and they'll do it.
Yeah. So I introduce you as Cullen and Company at Keller Williams. So obviously you've got a growing team. You've recently made some new hires. Tell us about your team, and then kind of like how your team kind of works together for the betterment of the community and your clients.
Yeah. So we're a team of specialists. So I am the listing specialist. I help buyers. I love investors, of course. And then we have Liz Willis, who is also buyers and sellers. She and her husband have multiple rental properties as well. And then we have Tara Sartain, who is my showing partner. So when my schedule, because we are serving lots of people and we want to be able to have that great relationship with people, my schedule doesn't dictate their schedule. So Tara steps in and she does her thing, and she's amazing and also investor minded. People love her sometimes more than they love me. And then we have an acquisition manager. So we have a whole entire investor acquisition side to our business. That's Aaron, and he has been wholesaling properties for 7 years. He came into the Charlotte area to be a wholesaler.
Yeah.
And so he is calling people daily and just trying to find properties that we can offer to our cash buyers. And that's a huge asset when it comes to the market that we're currently in. Because if Liz, Tara, Rebecca, Megan, if any of us decide, hey, we want to buy another property, he has access to properties that are not on the market yet. and we get first right of refusal.
Yeah. Describe the wholesaling process, if you don't mind.
Yeah. So wholesaling is just when seller raises their hand or we ask them if they are willing to sell their property. And sometimes it's a distressed situation where they have to get out. And we have cash buyers that are willing to make an offer that typically are lower than market value. And again, it's not taking advantage of the situation. It's truly, hey, this is what our buyer is willing to pay. And in certain circumstances, whether it's pre-foreclosure, maybe they have $100,000 of repairs that they have to make and they have to get out of the house, we're able to gift them with that opportunity for a fast sale.
Yeah, it's certainly a unique experience, and certainly something that has been growing substantially getting much more well known
Right.
over the past couple years. But yeah, I mean, it certainly adds a different layer to the real estate market, and obviously is bringing value to the buyer and to the seller, because you're right. In most situations like that, it could be a distressed sale or a situation where they've got to get out of the house. It's needs a lot of repairs, and so the investors and cash buyers are out there ready and willing to take something like that on.
Yes. And we, right now, especially, are focused on absentee owners. So folks that may not know how much equity they have in their home. Maybe they bought something in Charlotte 10 years ago and then ended up having to move and relocate. And maybe the property is sitting vacant. So we're really focused right now on folks who don't know how much equity they have in their home. They just call us, and we're able to give them that value. And then also properties that have tenants in them. So we have a lot of investors that we're serving right now that just want to inherit a lease.
Right.
And so that's a really great gift that we can connect the dots on.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of times, and I put myself in this category, unfortunately, where we've got some rental properties, and if we had someone come along and make us an offer, we'd okay, yeah. So you've got Aaron, who's making those calls, reaching out to those individuals, and just kind of igniting what may be there.
Exactly. Yes.
Excellent. You're listening to Carolina's Mortgage Radio. Give us a call anytime during or after the show, 704-999-6646. We've got Rebecca Cullen in studio with us, Cullen and Company at Keller Williams. So talk about, Rebecca, kind of the current climate. What have we seen? We've talked a lot on the show, but it's always great to get fresh perspectives, and it seems like things are changing every day. What has the past couple months been like for your business? What have you seen in the market, and what do you kind of see over the next few months?
Yeah, so it's been climbing. I mean, I got into real estate 2015 when we were
bad time,
right?
Not really.
It's been great, and the height, what I thought was the height of the market, was back in 2017 when things were going in multiple offers. People were paying over appraisal and paying cash over appraisal. It was wild, where a lot of our first-time home buyers were not able to qualify for the houses that they desired. And then slowly, 2018, we started to see a little bit of lower inventory, which we had to get creative and start knocking on doors, asking if people would sell. That's one of our value propositions as well, where we will literally market for our buyers and do whatever it takes to find them a home as well. And then in 2019, gosh, it just started to balance a little bit, where, any new buyer that we had, we probably were able to find them a seller. There was a lot of new construction sales going on. And then 2020, here we are. It is hot right now.
Yeah.
Interest rates are low, as you've been sharing. And you're a great partner of ours. And, buyers are able to qualify for a lot more home than they were able to back in 2017. So it's hot, and sellers are definitely getting what they want for their homes.
Is that one thing that we need happening to create that more level of inventory for that first-time home buyer market? Do we need to be reaching out and to potential sellers and say, hey, it's time to sell so you can move up, so people – do we need – it's kind of like a domino effect, right?
It is. Yep. I'm actually wearing a domino. Yep.
I see that. I like it.
And so, yeah, it's a domino effect. And as real estate professionals, it is our duty to call people. So many real estate agents think they're being salesy, quote unquote. And it's truly, if someone called me 6 years ago to tell me how much equity I had in my home, my Matthews house that I owned first, I probably would have sold it because of whatever predicament. Maybe I move it to another property. But we have a duty to people to share what the equity is, and then they get to decide what they want to do with that information. Right. So
I think you correct me if you think differently. I think one of the best ways to build wealth in real estate or in life, own a home for a few years, make a good decision, build some equity, and after you own it for 2 years, you can sell it completely tax free,
exactly.
up to $500,000 for a married couple.
Yes. Yeah, building wealth. Gosh, and I do a lot of. I'm a student of wealth, is what I say now.
I like it.
Net worth is so important, and so many Americans, especially, don't understand that net worth. And renters have, on average, from the 2016 census, they have $5,200 of net worth.
Of total net worth.
Of total net worth, $5,200, and then the average American homeowner has $223,000 of net worth.
That's a sizable difference.
It is.
Yeah.
And so if you're able to, whether you get a home equity line of credit or you're able to cash out with a refi, sometimes it makes more sense to take that balance from your home, if you know that it's going to continue to appreciate, buy another property, get some cash flow going.
Right. Yeah, I think accessing equity right now has been a huge help to so many people throughout what we've been going through. Values have been increasing over the past several years, and so it's created a lot of good equity positions for home buyers, especially in the Fort Mill, Rock Hill area. We've seen great appreciation, and by all statistical measures and perceptions, that looks to continue.
Yes.
And so whether it's, paying off debt or investing in a new rental property or investments or what have you, it's been a really good opportunity to do that this year. We've done some cash out refinances to help eliminate debt. Obviously, you don't want to go back right into debt. That puts you in a bad spot. But there's so many effective ways to use the equity that's building up right now. And even sometimes, I counsel people, well, hey, it's just like you said, when they're looking at maybe doing a refinance or maybe they've overextended themselves. Well, hey, it's actually time to sell. Let's eliminate all that. We can buy again with a smaller down payment because that's out there as well. You don't need 20% down, and we help them create a better financial path. So that's a part of kind of what we do, and I know it's certainly what you do as well.
Yes, and that's why you're such a great partner, because we know that you will do that and have that same mindset around building wealth. So thank you.
For sure. You're listening to Carolina's Mortgage Radio. I'm your host, Brandon Kohlberg. Call us anytime during or after the show, 704-999-6646. We're here with Rebecca Cullen and Company at Keller Williams. So Rebecca, you've got a lot of different solutions for sellers and with selling options. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So over the last year, just kind of the trends have been showing that, especially with new construction being so prevalent in Charlotte, you have to give them a solution if their home is not market ready. And so if they want to go the traditional route, which is let's have a staging consultation, which turned into a virtual staging consultation over the last 3 months. We have a great partner for that. And then they can get their home staged with their own items. They don't have a staging company change out their items. And we get them photography ready. And we do a what's called Matterport tour, where they can literally stand inside of the home just by clicking on the screen. And so right now with coronavirus and shelter in place that was happening back in March and April, we were able to sell homes sight unseen because of this solution.
Yeah.
And that was a huge gift to those that didn't live here. And then that's just one option, which is usually net more money option. Then we have the iBuyer, which is we've turned ourselves into what is an iBuyer, which is where literally just an instant cash offer. And it's closer to that market value, yet it's not going to be like if they were to get the staging consultation and the stronger price.
Sure.
And then we have the wholesale option, which is what we just discussed earlier, where we have a cash buyer and that person exists in our world already and they want to buy in that particular location. And, depending on their predicament, if it makes sense, they'll choose it. And then we'll take on the repairs and the, we're buying it as is, which is huge.
So many changes kind of in the real estate market when it comes to iBuying programs, things like that, whether, throw out the name of the company, there's several out there, some of them taking a hit with coronavirus. What is kind of the feedback that you get from sellers when introducing these new types of programs? Obviously, they're for the betterment of them, but there's so many different ways to look at real estate now to sell a home. What has been their reaction? Are they adapting well, or is there some, a lot of education that you're having to do during that process?
Yeah, there's a lot of education. Most people have never even heard of the instant cash offer option. And so if they raise their hand, again, we're relationship-based company. So most of these people already know us and trust us. So if we go down that consultation down that road with them where, gosh, it would be really challenging to have a staging consultation. And then I have no time to pack up all my things and I have no time to get ready for photography. Well, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, this is another option that we have. That's how we start this conversation. We don't go in like, here's one price, here's the second price, here's the third price. That's not going to work for everybody. So we make sure that we ask the right questions. And if they start getting anxious or overwhelmed with the process, then we say, well, hey, here's another option that we have. And we are serving 12 cash investors who want to purchase in this area. If that is challenging and gives you anxiety, well, what would it take for you to accept a $200,000 offer? And in their mind, they're like, gosh, my house is worth $200,000. And then you told me it's worth $230,000 if I did all this work. I'm cool with $200,000.
Right.
So it's a consultation, it's a conversation, and it's asking the right questions.
You mentioned, sales earlier, and maybe that stigma that sometimes exists, but really sales is just, solutioning problems. And I think that's certainly what you and your team do very well, Rebecca. I mean, that's, kind of what we aim to do in my business as well, is just find solutions out there for the people that we work with.
Right. Yes. We want people to be raving fans and, like we talked about, come back to us and have that relationship forever. And so if we're not doing the right thing, or if we're not giving them the solution that works best for them, they're not going to come back and they're not going to share how great we were.
So describe what that is. You said you referred to yourself as a relationship-based company. I guess maybe the opposite would be transactional. What are kind of the differences between being a relationship realtor and versus kind of more transactional?
Yeah. So I spent 10 years in the events industry. I was a special events planner and I sold space. And so I turn everything into an event, and I turn everything into, a full life relationship.
Yeah.
And so when coronavirus doesn't exist, we have parties every single month where we invite these people into our world, or we have, giveaways, and we have workshops. We have great investor workshops that we've turned virtual. And so we want to hang out with these people. We want them to become really good friends and family. And so for us, it truly is, we don't want to see you once. We don't want to see you 3 times through the transaction. We want to see you forever, and we want to watch your kids grow up, and we want to watch the new first-time home buyer potentially buy their move up home in the future and maybe keep that property as an investment property. And so it's truly every single person in our world, we intend to keep them in our world for a very long time.
Yeah, and I think it really begins with actually caring for the people that you work with. And one of my passions is personal finance and helping people succeed financially. I talk often, and I certainly hope it shows in my business. But when I'm working with clients, as far as just providing a mortgage, I don't just want to provide a mortgage. I want to help them on the path. I think I mentioned earlier. I actually had a guy that I spoke with just last night call me for a second opinion on a mortgage. And when I actually went into great detail with his finances, here's how we need to structure it. Here's why. And it was a kind of less down payment, structuring some debt payoff, and kind of reworked and actually saved him $1,000 a month over what another mortgage company had, just because they didn't take the time to care and to look into the situation and figure out how to actually solution this guy's issues. And this guy, had some other issues besides just getting approved for a mortgage.
Yes. And we know that about you. And that's why if we get a phone call or a referral from someone who we know is not going to be able to buy a home, and their goal is to be able to buy a home, we will literally pick up the phone and say, hey, Brandon,
Right.
do you have time to talk to this person? Because we know that you are that great counselor and that advocate. And so we make sure to partner with those people.
Well, we appreciate that, but yeah, I mean, it is true, and again, I certainly hope it shines through, and I guess maybe it does. But yeah, we generally, care for the people that we work with. We care about our communities. That's why we do this radio show, to get the education and information out into the marketplace to provide. We believe in home ownership, and I know you do as well. You're an investor, and so that's how you got started. That's quite frankly, I actually got in the business almost 16 years ago, which is crazy to say at this point, and almost immediately began real estate investing. And so that passion has, grown. But yeah, I mean, it really just begins with wanting to help other people succeed. And so anyway, if you're out there and you want to get into real estate, invest in real estate, give us a call anytime during or after the show, 704-999-6646. Rebecca, you mentioned new construction and the kind of the pace of new construction in our marketplace. Tell us your experience with the new construction over the past couple of years and where you see that going. Obviously, we have been fighting this low inventory market, trying to get new homes out in the marketplace. What does that look like?
Yeah. So up until last year, 60% of my business was new construction, where it was, whether it was one of the tract home builders, Lennar, Meritage, we all know those builders, Pulte.
Yeah.
And then, there was some semi-custom like Saucy Burbank and Fielding and some of these other builders. That was 60% of my buyer business. And over the last couple of years, it's kind of slowed down because they're just, the phases aren't rolling out, or the counties have slowed down on offering permits. And so we, over the last year, have had the opportunity to earn land listings. And so a lot of these developers are looking for properties, and the average seller and buyer cannot visualize like the tract builders offer, where you have a model home or you have predetermined drawings, renderings of the property. And so there's so many land listings that sit vacant, and you can drive by any of these major roads. There's for sale signs everywhere. And so we've prided ourselves on working with developers and with a company who offers renderings, where people can buy the whole package if they can't see what the vision of the property could be in the future. And so it's been a great partnership where they will literally build this home for the future buyer. We just have to find a lender that'll do a construction, a perm loan.
Right.
And so they could decide to just buy the land and build whatever they want in the future. But it's opening up that conversation, and it's providing a solution to our seller, where maybe it'll sit on the market for 2 years vacant, Or we can partner with this great company who already has a builder, who already has the land developer, and maybe a $100,000 lot turns into a $600,000 home, and it
Right.
opens up a different buyer.
For sure. Yeah. I put my wife in that category as far as she can't really visualize, like that. And it's got to be fully built for her to walk into and to decide if she likes it. Me, on the other hand, I've got some experience, in building and things like that. So I can we can make it work. So yeah, it's certainly a need in the community, especially if you got land listings like you do.
Yes, yeah. And again, it goes from a 50% buyer pool who maybe is only a cash investor, or a developer who maybe wants the 12 acres that can then be developed into an $800,000 home. It just allows us to bring the buyer pool into a 70% bracket versus the 50.
Which is definitely a need. I mean, especially if you get further south from where we're at right now here in Rock Hill, into Clover, or different parts of South Carolina. Lots more land available, but hard to envision, and quite frankly, it's the financing is harder to get as well, and so it's a lot of more barriers to be able to purchase something like that. So you are able to bring everybody involved, build the house, and connect all the dots to make a deal happen.
Yes, exactly. And we have a land listing right now in Rock Hill, and it's off of a really great street, Oakdale Road. And it had been on the market for over 5 years. And we got the
Wow.
listing. We priced it perfectly, and we've had a lot of interest. And the average buyer has no idea that they should call the city of Rock Hill to find out if they could put a septic or a well. It can't. When it's within the city of Rock Hill, you have to have a sewer line. Well, not every agent will do the research to be able to position the property the right way. And we've talked to civil engineers, we've talked to multiple environmental specialists to find out how much it's going to take to be able to put the sewer lines into the property. And so it's not just positioning the property and the purchase price. It's also, hey, in order for you to actually build something on this, or maybe subdivide it if that's your intention, here's how much it's actually going to cost for you to run water and sewer lines and be able to build before you get to build your beautiful home.
And I'm one who has bought and sold many different properties, and I'm always on the market, So I see these properties, and I have the same questions, and I would certainly classify myself as a seasoned buyer, seasoned investor, and I've got those same questions, and so it's a different level of service. It's a different level of expertise when you're doing that work. Most people don't do that.
Right.
Maybe it's a philosophical question, but what's the difference? What separates the Cullen team and being willing and able to do all that work, to put it out there, to solution the issues, versus someone who is just going to slap a sign on a piece of land?
Yeah. So it's really drive and passion and desire for that raving fan experience. And so, if Mr. and Mrs. Vargas decide to call us to list their property, we want to make sure that we're doing them a service to get every single buyer to potentially make an offer. I mean, we've had multiple offers on that property, and if we weren't able to connect the dots on what it will take, or hey, this offer that you've provided us requires a loan. Well, did you know that your lender probably won't be able to close the deal because it requires X, Y, and Z? And so those buyers aren't even our clients,
Right.
but we want to make sure that we can get them to the closing table. And if it's not going to get to the closing table, that we go find another buyer. And so it's just the drive and the passion that we have for our people.
You're listening to Carolina's Mortgage Radio. I'm your host, Brandon Colberg. Call us anytime during or after the show, 704-999-6646. We have Rebecca Cullen with Cullen and Company, Keller Williams, the team lead. We did talk about your team, Rebecca, and everything that you guys do as far as providing that raving fans level of service. I still think I just think there's something else to that as far as what we just talked about as far as doing all of the work that you guys do. I mean, I think it's more than just drive and passion. I mean, I think that's kind of the leading thing. Um, but certainly that is a entirely different level of service.
Yeah. Often, my counterparts and mentors across the country, they're like, wow, you know, you're doing so many more steps, or you're doing more things than what your colleagues are doing. And, if you really did take a look at our our price per hour or whatever,
Yeah,
we have to make a living, right? And
sure.
so when we look at that, everything that we do has to return us a 3 times the investment. And so we look at that for time as well. And so, yes, it might take more time on the front end to have the great photography, go to every single photographer appointment, show up to the house 3 times before we list it, mow the lawn sometimes. It's really important that if we're putting that investment of time and creating that relationship on the front end, it's going to return us 3 times that investment intentionally. And so I really want to make sure that if we're putting the time in and we are going over and above for each and every client that we have, and sometimes buyers agents that we're serving, and other people that are involved in the quote unquote transaction of the process, that it's going to net that 3 times investment of time or money.
So we talked about sales having kind of a bad connotation. I think marketing also kind of gets that bad connotation. But really, if the top of the chain is caring for the client, and then you have a great sales and you have a great marketing piece, then it all works fantastically well. Talking about marketing, how do you monitor that return on investment? Obviously, we treat it as business owners, and not just I'm not just a real estate agent. I'm a business owner. I'm not just mortgage lender. I'm a business owner. And so for our business owners out there, how do you look at your marketing and what you're doing, all these added layers of a service that you and your team provide, Rebecca? How do you kind of monitor that ROI?
Yeah, so I haven't always been great at it.
Yeah, it's the execution that's certainly hard, right?
Yes. And so it's, that coaching. I have a great coach. I have great mentors who literally look at my profit and loss statement every single month, which I'm grateful for. And we will only spend money on our top 3 lead sources. And like I shared with you, we're 84% database and relationship driven.
Yeah.
And so that means we're only spending money on our friends, on our past clients, on our vendor partners. And what that means is, if it's your birthday, we're probably going to spend some money to celebrate your birthday, whether it's, sending you a card in the mail or sending you a gift basket. You guys do that for us.
Yep.
And so we're going to spend that money on making someone's day special. And we're in the process of, because we haven't been able to have those events that we have every single month. Some of our past clients are going to get this really fun goodie in the mail because I miss them and I miss seeing them. And it's going to say that I wish we were able to celebrate this month, and we're not. And so we will only spend money on our top 3 sources, which is past clients, vendor partners, and our friends.
And if you're just starting out, whether you're in real estate or you own a business, how do you kind of go about determining where should I be spending that money? What are my top 3 things that are actually going to produce results? And then how do you kind of monitor that over a very long span of time?
Yeah. So I love new agents, and they're kind of my passion as well. New agents often don't give enough time to something, so they have no idea what's working and what's
I'd
not.
say new everybody.
New everybody, yes. And so as a new agent, whatever doesn't cost money is the best place to start. So open houses for new agents and lenders, really, visiting open houses, finding connections with people who have businesses like yours or a business that you intend to have, and love on those people. My mortgage relationships, those are my favorite relationships because we're doing business together and it's a mutual partnership. Um, but if I'm looking for a new buyer or seller, I'm probably going to call you guys first and say, "Hey, I have a buyer that's looking for this home. Do you have anybody that's planning to sell in the pipeline?" Like that's a great connection to have. And then I would just say open houses, calling for sale by owners who don't know what they don't know. And maybe they have no idea what the market is doing. And again, we have an obligation to be able to share that information that we know already.
So as a buyer or a seller, when we're talking about all these different marketing pieces and spending money on, being relationship based and for the kind of help us increase our business, really the end result for your buyers and sellers with that process?
For them to net as much money as they desire.
Yeah.
So if they're a buyer, that they're not spending the most amount of money. And then on the selling side, it's just if we know that we can bump it up an extra $10,000, or if in our gut we know that they will never be able to receive the amount that their goal is, well, maybe they don't sell right now. Maybe we say, hey, let's just wait. Let's just see what the market's going to do because we don't have a crystal ball. We can only tell them what we know today. And sometimes, especially right now, I'm having that conversation with buyers that says, don't buy right now. You're going to buy at the height of the market, which is the case in some of our areas here. Let's just put you in a rental for 6 months. And if I'm wrong, I'll throw in a home warranty or something. But I don't know that I'm going to be wrong. I think that the market's going to level out a little bit. And I mean, I don't know. Again, I don't have a crystal ball, but let's just hang tight for a minute.
What if we had a crystal ball? I think we'd be doing quite well. But yeah,
Yeah.
because I get the same questions. Should we lock now or should we wait? Should I refinance now? Should I wait? Should I buy now? Should I wait? But yeah, it's constant education and research that I know you and your team do. I certainly do as well. We watch the market very aggressively, and we want to provide the best information out there possible. Obviously, we don't have a crystal ball. We can't say 100% unequivocally that X, Y, Z will happen. But again, everything that we do and that you're talking about, Rebecca, comes back to actually putting the client's needs first and actually
Yes.
having a true concern for themselves personally and financially, to be able to say, hey, maybe not now is not the best time to buy. I don't need to make a sale so bad that I'm going to put you in a bad spot.
No.
And so it is such a different level of service. All the things that you do, the best thing that you do is being able to give wise counsel and not be held by having to make a sale.
That's right. And I learned early in this entire industry that if you ever are driven by the transaction and if you're tied to the outcome of anything, you will be broke and you will fail miserably. And so I remind myself often to my team when I'm coaching and holding them accountable to their goals. If you are tied to the outcome, you are not going to succeed. And so take yourself out of that and do the right thing for the customer.
And it shows. I mean, more so than just about anything else. Like when you have that mindset it's all about you and not the client, it really, really comes through, especially for me as the lender when I'm, dealing with all parties and maybe something happened with an appraisal or something didn't happen with a repair or God forbid the lender, messed up. Doesn't happen on my side, but it's okay. But you see the reaction because really we're a team. We're all working to the same goal, and that's to help the buyer into the house with a great deal, help the seller sell on a great deal, and there's always sometimes that where someone's maybe not on that same page, and it
Yes.
definitely shines through that. Well, you care too much about yourself and not about your clients and getting the best deal for them.
That's right. Yes. And yes, goes back to don't be tied to the outcome.
You're listening to Carolina's Mortgage Radio. We're preaching a little bit today. Brandon Colberg, call me anytime, 704-999-6646. But it is very true. Make sure you're working with true professionals. And we have Rebecca Cullen and Company at Keller Williams, a true professional in the real estate game. Call us anytime during or after the show, 704-999-6646. Rebecca, so talk to, kind of a wide-ranging thing, views today. Anything that we didn't kind of touch on that you wanted to highlight about your particular business, or kind of what's happening in the market right now?
I think it's really important that if somebody has a goal of investing, that they sit down, have a conversation with their trusted accountant or financial advisor or whoever that is, and really take advantage of the fact that money is really cheap right now. And if they don't have $100,000 to sit in a bank account, go ahead and get a 5%. Well, I guess you have to do 20% for investing. So go ahead and get a loan and put 20% down, and then talk to all of the advisors that you can potentially do, and talk to people that have invested and know the market, and think about cash flow.
One of the things that really gets missed in creating a personal financial plan is proper tax planning.
Yes.
I mean, it's one of the biggest ways to actually save money, and therefore make money, is proper tax planning. And real estate investing can be a fantastic solution to kind of fit part of a good tax planning. So yes, you're absolutely right. Talk to your CPAs and financial advisors. Talk to the real estate investors, and talk to Rebecca Cullen in regards to what maybe putting some numbers together.
Yes. Yep. Again, it goes back to goals that people have. So for the last few years, we've been advising people not to flip a property because construction costs are high and supplies are kind of inflated right now. However, in the next 3 months, flipping might be a great option for the right person who might have time to be able to property manage or manage the construction process is
Right.
what I was trying to say. However, if you have a goal around netting $250 a month on a great rental property that's buy and holding, gosh, there are so many great places in Charlotte right now where you can fill the property for high rent and net 250 plus. Why would you not want to do that?
Yeah, there's so many great opportunities out there. And what you said, cheap money, what you meant by that, of course, just to kind of explain it, is the fact that rates are so low, you can borrow money for it very, very inexpensively.
Yes.
Compared to what what returns you could get by buying a property as a rental.
Yes. And right now, the economists are sharing that a dollar today could be worth $4 in 18 months. And so if
Wow.
that's a lot of money. So if you buy right now, yes, the market's hot and you're buying at the height, yet in 18 months, as long as you buy the right property, you might be able to cash out fast, and you might be able to cash out with, maybe $1,200 or $12,000. That's the right math. $12,000 in your pocket over the last 18 months on top of appreciation. So, yeah, it might be the right time.
I'll take those numbers.
Yeah, all day.
So for people listening who want to take those numbers too, how do they start?
Well, call me. And 803-619-0336 is our phone number. We have, as we've been sharing, we have sellers that don't want to hit the market and they just want a smooth sale. So we have those connections. And then call Brandon because he can hook you up with a great investment loan.
Give us your contact one more time, Rebecca.
It's 803-619-0336.
And again, what's important to note if you are looking to get into real estate investing is that, Rebecca, you get with being a part of a huge Keller Williams office, quite frankly, lots of information before properties are going live. Obviously, you're also doing the wholesaling, so you've got potential list of lots of different properties that may not be actively listed. And so, if you're looking at buying, contacting Rebecca would be a great opportunity to get listed as an investor with Rebecca. So when the properties do come live, you may have first access to it.
Yes, yeah, and we have a cash investor list. So great point. If anybody wants to get on that list, we send out probably about monthly when we know the properties that we haven't already connected the dots. So we just send out an email with whatever we have.
Fantastic information, Rebecca. We appreciate you being here. Rebecca Cullen and Company at Keller Williams. You're listening to Carolina's Mortgage Radio. Give us a call anytime after the show, 704-999-6646. Great information, Rebecca, as always. It was great to see you.
Thank you. Enjoy it.
And next time we'll go maybe really in depth on real estate investing because it is certainly a passion of both of ours. And we truly believe in home ownership and building wealth through just living in a primary residence as well, second homes, vacation rentals, and local rentals as well. So if that interests you, give us a call after the show, 704-999-6646. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we will catch you next week.